Hello, welcome to Crosstalk on Enterprise TV. I am Citizen Jones Hussein, and today the debate is about the Nnpcl seeking private operators for the Port Harcourt Refinery, and the question, is this the way to go? Nnpcl seeks private operators for Port Harcourt Refinery. Is this the way to go? Now, located at Alessa, Eleme, just to the southeast of Port Harcourt, the Port Harcourt Refinery, established in 1965, has the capacity to process or refine 60,000 barrels of crude oil per day, BPD. Now, due to neglect, whether willful or induced, the Port Harcourt Refinery, like three others, have been down, condemning us to a seeming eternal dependence on petroleum products importation. The Nnpcl operators of the refinery says it is seeking private companies for the operation and maintenance of the complex. This, the Nnpcl says, is intended to ensure reliability and sustainability towards meeting the nation's fuel supply and energy security obligations. Is this the right way to go? So let's have the debate. My debaters today are Cyril Abaku. Cyril is a broadcaster and communications expert. I greet you, Cyril.
It's a pleasure to be here, Citizen John.
And we have Tochukwu Ezukama, who is a town planner, biographer, and a political commentator. I greet you, Tochukwu.
Thank you so very much for having me, Citizen Jones.
Yeah. So the debate, the Nnpcl seeks private operators for the Port Harcourt Refinery. Is this the way to go? Cyril is the homeboy here because the refinery is at his backyard, in a manner of speaking. Yeah.
I mean, and again, literally it is. But my answer to this is, it is not and cannot be the way to go. Let me give my first reason. My first reason is that by March 2023, we were told that the federal government had spent $25 billion fixing refineries in Nigeria. My suspicion
the four of them.
Yes. My suspicion is that the government is looking for where to hide its inefficiency, hide its incompetence, hide its corruption, hide the fraud that has been perpetrated in the name of borrowing all these monies. If you borrow money to fix the refineries, then supervise them and let them work. Because tomorrow you will hear that we borrowed money and fixed it, and it was the private operators who came to destroy everything. So you borrowed money and fixed it, make it work. It's your responsibility.
Tochukwu.
Well, I've always believed in the saying that the government has no business in business. The motivation of the government generally is not profit making, it's mostly for the general welfare of the people. So where the fixation or motivation is to make profit and be efficient, the government should stay off. Moreover, the Nigerian government is known for its clumsiness. It's lumbering, blundering, bumbling, bureaucracy.
And fumbling.
Bureaucracy that results in the end running everything aground. Why were all the refineries run aground in the first place is because of the same government inability to manage anything effectively.
Hold it. But you both seem to be speaking from the same side of the coin.
We're not. Government, so the Nnpc has enough experts, enough technocrats that can do the job, but they wouldn't do it. Political leadership, whether bring in cronies, bring in nepotists, bring in brothers, bring in friends to come and run the place. Does the Nigerian government have the capacity to run the refinery? Yes, they do. How do I know this? Between
Okay.
Yes.
We release pause where we stopped you.
Political allies to run everything aground. And that was why the refineries in the first place got grounded. So why fix refineries that were grounded for how many decades? and then entrust it right back.
But who should have fixed them?
Who should have? The government fixed them. The government destroyed them in the first place. So the government has fixed them, and now the government
should fix them.
Well, they started by fixing. I think they fixed one already. So now the government is realizing we cannot handle this responsibility. Let us privatize it. Give it into the hands of those that can manage it efficiently for profit. And I am all in support of that.
Okay.
No, the point again is this. Can government run it all by themselves? They definitely can. Are they doing that right now? No, they are not. What is the problem? It is deliberate. It is about political will. It's about the fact that it pays them to make more money by doing corruption than by doing it right. How do I know this? Between 1965 and when this refinery stopped pumping out petrol, maybe in the early to late 2000s, they were running the place. Who were running the place? Government. It created jobs for locals. It brought in people, people from different parts of the country into that place. It was functioning. It was a Nigerian project. When you hand this, now they even say private operators. We really don't know what that even means. Now, number two, they may come and tell you tomorrow that the private operators are bought over, let me say they gave them up to 60% stake. It means they sold that place. Then you do not know for sure what those people are going to do. They can shut that place down for another 1 year or 2 years, as the case may be. But the question is, if you could have gotten private people to come out, why did you go and borrow humongous sums of money in the first place? You borrowed money. You've not accounted for it, and you've not paid back the loan. The next thing is that you want to give it over to people, to other people to come around. You borrow the money. You must account for it. You must audit how much you spent on repairs. And because you have the hands to run the place, go and run the place. Government can do business. In Europe, we've seen it happen. All the major oil majors of the world, Petrobras in Brazil, Gazprom in Russia, Aramco in Saudi, are all state-led projects. Why is it that only Nigeria will be different? And the difference is not even because we lack competitive advantage. It is because we have an advantage that we're trying to now decimate and destroy. So we cannot allow government run its own project and our own project aground. They should go do what is right, and the mother said that.
See, but is this not coming from the fact that we are basically very, very suspicious of government?
No, we're not. So like I've been saying, all over the world, I talked of Petrobras. I talked of even the Angolan oil major, the state-owned oil firm in Angola, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and so on. This is very serious because you see, petroleum production has certain national security dimensions that you can't just will to a private individual like that. Now we don't even know whether they have a reliable local investor or foreign investor. But for them to even told that they want to hand it over, it means that maybe they've already found who they want to give it to. But so the question is, if in the past 20 to 30 years we couldn't trust what government could do, not because what government wouldn't do, not because they couldn't do, but what they just wouldn't do. How are we even certain about the procedure for selecting? Wouldn't it be they themselves going back, removing their toga from whatever it is to a private sector and say now that they want to come and buy? Already we have issues of tribalism, in which case, a business is situated less in a Akwa, then they bring somebody from a far-flung state to come around for very strategic reasons. If you want to, if you want to change the outlook of a place,
but
you must have the natives.
But Southerners had run the Nnpc before.
They ran the place before Adams and Co. Right? Because under the military regime, there was the need to give a face of inclusion. But in reality, who were on the boards? Who are the middle managers? Who are doing employment? And so over time, you've seen that a particular study pattern has played out, and that's why there was a time they brought somebody who read religious studies to come and man the Nnpc in Port Harcourt. Why would the place run aground when you have qualified people that if Nnpc is sent overseas for training are there? You will not bring them. So where will those guys then go?
Yeah, how do you secret?
That every country has its own peculiarities. We keep talking about what has functioned in Brazil, in the US, in Angola. Those are all wonderful. But the Nigerian reality remains the Nigerian reality. It has not worked in Nigeria. And that's what we have to.
Why do you think this is so?
No, it is that the problem.
No, but it worked.
In the past.
It worked.
Yeah, before there was this moral and ethical collapse of the Nigerian.
So the moral and ethical collapse, it's not an Nnpc issue, it's a government problem.
It's a societal problem. And to redress it can take 50 years. We can be wobbling through it for the next 100 years and nothing has happened. So now, let's deal with our reality. Our reality is that the government cannot manage these facilities. The government has repeatedly failed. You called it, we don't trust the government. How can we trust a government that has deceived us for so repeatedly? A government that cannot get anything done, dashed our hopes repeatedly, cannot keep to electoral promises. Because you call it corruption. I don't call it corruption, I call it piratical depredation. You know, pirates are high sea robbers, and high sea robbers are worse than highway robbers. Depredation, looting and tearing down. When highway robbers loot and tear down, it's terrible. But when high sea robbers loot and tear down, it's like hell, comparable to hell. And that's what is happening in Nigeria. In the days of First Republic, maybe Second Republic, was corruption. But these days, what is happening in Nigeria defies the English lexicon. You don't call it corruption anymore. So for my own, I coined my own word, piratical depredation. The piratical depredation will continue. And if it's the government managing anything, is coupled with cronyism, coupled with nepotism, coupled with
and all the negative issues.
Yeah, what is this what politicians do? I don't really remember the ism. So the thing is that the government cannot handle it. Let's try something new. Give it to the private sector. At least the private sector, we know that.
And there's no corruption in the private sector.
No, there's a lot of corruption, but the private sector is there to maximize profit. And there can be no profit if the system, if the
system collapses.
So nobody will invest his money and want the system to collapse. But to the government, it's not important because it's all about, it's not about profit driven. It's about chopping more and more and more and more.
So I'm happy you raised the question of ethical collapse,
yes,
of values being.
How do we turn that around? We may not be able to
holding people accountable.
Holding accountable across board.
Exactly. And that's right. So now that they have
start working, but we're not able to hold them accountable.
But now that
not even in our primary schools, not even in our secondary schools, not even
particular matters on the table. Why can't we single that a government that knew that they could borrow billions of dollars to fix infrastructure? Now you fixed it, but you don't want to run it. It sounds like government going to take the risk of building a facility, investing in it, employing people, and then saying we don't want to run that place. What makes entrepreneurship is one singular factor that distinguishes from all the other factors of production: risk taking. Anybody who is investing is taking a risk.
Yes.
What government is about to do is that they've taken up the risk factor from the business, and then what the corporate sector is simply they're inviting party members, loyalists, friends, church members, mosque members, sisters, and cousins to come and take over that place. That's what they're going to do. Because you cannot tell me that you take up the risk factor, and then you say come and
the risk factor from the government and give it over to the private.
And that's the question to this. How many business are going to hear that you borrowed billions of dollars to fix the problem, and that they are now coming to take the business and run it, pay back the loan, be profitable, serve the public? How many if it's not worthy, I mean financially or economically, then the businessmen will not get involved.
It means that they must find it economically viable. It must produce profit. That's the only time businessmen will come in.
Cyril, but Tochukwu is speaking from the experience of yesterday. Government had gone commercial, so it tells us. In the Obasanjo years, we talked about privatizing government parastatals and stuff, but it didn't work. That's Tochukwu's argument.
I'm happy it didn't work. but at least we tried something new. There's a saying that madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So the government has failed with the refineries, failed with everything, and then you want to entrust these refurbished refineries to them again. Is it not doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result? So let's try something new.
You are
with the refineries. No, that's why we should give it over to the private sector. Try something new, since government involvement in the refineries has been a failure.
All right, so earlier on you talked about the Nnpc replete with experts with the know-how.
Sure, yes.
So what, in other words, what are you saying?
No, it means that they can run that place by themselves. I give an example. Nigeria's mill engineers, late last year, wrote to the president and said, Mr. President, give us 1 year, we can turn this refinery around for you. It fell on deaf ears. Number two is the fact that because we have enough hands to do this work. Now, assuming that they didn't find anybody to run the refinery, we need to go and check what survey did they carry out, what cost benefit, whatever assessment did they undertake to see that giving to private sector will be more beneficial to either the government or to Nigerians. One. Then thirdly, assuming they didn't find anybody to operate that place for them, it now falls back to them. What are the specific weaknesses or loopholes that they are avoiding that we're not going to get stuck with? When you tell me that with their ethical issues as to that has made government not to be able to function, I'm saying that the beginning point to reverse it is to hold people accountable. We must not go and ask who recommended, for example, that government should fix that place, and who's not recommending that after fixing they should not sell it off. Why do you need to just sell it off? Sell it off entirely to somebody, and then allow the person to invest and do what like this wants to do. You've got to invest billions of dollars. After which, do you know that when people take away business, they reimagine it. People are, you may say that a businessman idea is to make money from that business, it's fine. But every businessman has his own philosophy of how to do his business. You've already gone to fix things and put everything in place and hired a lot of this IOC to come and fix it for you. And now you're saying that you can't run it, you want to give it out. At the time, when in this same sector, Shell is divesting, and they're saying a lot of oil majors are about to leave Nigeria. We should be thinking forward and not be thinking backward. Why is government unable to run the business that keeps government afloat? That is the question.
Yeah.
The thing is that the point is that if these things is not going to be economically viable, no businessman will get involved in the first place. So we are going to privatize means that it will be viable to businessmen. Businessmen will come expecting to make money from it. And let's try that approach. That will help us a lot than keep doing the same thing over and over. You keep talking about the problems of the government, that is not lack of expertise. It does not take much to build a refinery. After the war, I went to the Biafran refinery at Uzakole. It was just like not bigger than this ground floor with a bunch of heavy, big drums. And then you have individuals, oil thieves, refining fuel. And nothing has said that the quality of fuel that come out from those illegal refineries are necessarily of poor quality. No, they are comparable to the ones refined.
Their own vehicles.
Their own vehicles are the same thing. So it doesn't take much to refine fuel. We have the expertise, so it has always been the government problem. The mindset of the politicians, the attitude of the bureaucrats, the culture of the powers that be, the power elite. That's what is holding us back. That's what is dragging everybody in the mud. So let's, to a considerable extent, remove this drawback from the government and let private individuals give it a try. We know that with the private individuals doing it, there cannot be a total collapse of the system. The Nigerian factor undoubtedly will come in. There will be inefficiencies here and there, but the refineries will continue to move on because the businessman wants to remain in business.
We don't. And Nnpc has the private oil marketers of licenses to bring fuel into the country. It's now looking for private investors to come and take over the Port Harcourt Refinery. How much are they going to pay? You see, even the opacity of the process is part of the problem, because you never get to know the truth. As at is it an afterthought? We were on this same set debating the question of the refinery, whether it was not ready to work or not. We knew it was not ready to work. They said after Christmas, we knew it was a lie. Now Christmas has passed. In the new year, in fact, experts are saying that this refinery will not work until like middle of this year, or even maybe towards the end of this year. Now, in the middle of the road, they've come up with another agenda that they want to.
See, that's suspicion all over again.
The refinery was not ready for anything. What they did in December was a show. Was a spectacle. In fact, because they said it was ready. When they got there, they said it was mechanical completion.
But if all you have gotten from the government so far,
a bunch of mendacious fellows.
If all you've gotten from them, let me quote you, what you've gotten from them is mendacity, falsehood, deceit, failure. Why don't you want to continue to entrust institutions into their hands?
No.
You will, as much as possible, be saying, relinquish control of these institutions that you are already messing up. Let's try the private sector.
Okay, Syria, how do we deal with crude oil thieves?
It's the government agents that are crude oil thieves. The general,
I'm glad that
the politicians.
Yes, I'm glad I agree on that.
Yeah.
When you say crude oil thieves, it looks like some third parties. Those are not third parties. The people who are shouting about oil thieves are the real oil thieves themselves. A country in which a sitting president could no longer trust the Navy. And now to go and hire private people who now start doing with the Navy. Now you know be you. Now you come on. On high seas, at gunpoint.
And look at the pipes, the way they wire those pipes way into the ocean. Okay, and then where the ships come and get into the man on the street does not have that kind of knowledge and resources.
Don't know what to use.
Exactly. The armed robber from one gate to smoking Igbo cannot do that. It takes a lot of expertise, it takes a lot of resources, a lot of sophistication, and a lot of control and power to do all that. So it's the generals, the admirals, the politicians that.
And can I also quickly say this? I hear Mr. Zukama saying that they are looking for private investors to come.
I said so.
I mean that's what it is. That if they find, they should give it to them.
Yes.
I can tell you from experience that Nnpc is not looking for anybody to come and take over the refinery. It may be that they are found and are now selling what can pass to the public. You hear this week, next week you hear something new. So slowly until they give it to their friends or whoever it is.
But whoever you give it,
cannot tell
if
that
it makes the system work, the system is already corrupt.
How do we know what is going on?
So if the system
we could have argued
the system.
We could argue a year ago. Don't take the loan so that the refinery will work. Take it and repair the refinery. See where we are today. They've not done the first thing. So they went last year to say that they were going to commission. We knew it was all a lie. It was all a lie. It was after they called it, they said that what they've done is mechanical completion. English.
Technically,
and that now they needed to go on Christmas break. You know that unveiling, what it was that they did that in Port Harcourt, was not actually, it wasn't even pre-planned or announced. It was sudden. It came suddenly in a row. After they caught the tape, then they said that people now needed to go home for Christmas break, which is even mediocre in my ears. What kind of break is that? Personal break. People say they're going on break. That we're going on Christmas break. You know that something is wrong with this. Then they came. Now Christmas is over. The next thing you're hearing is that they're looking for who will buy it. See where we should begin from. Even if they want to sell, is to begin by auditing who took how much to do what work. Making the final work again. And all of this is on government. Let's ask this question first before we talk about giving it to any private.
All right, just a minute. Let me remind the viewer, the debate today has to do with the news that the Nnpcl, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, is seeking private operators for the Port Harcourt Refinery, and we are asking if this is the way to go. Of course, this would provoke a debate. We'll go on a break and come back shortly to take it home.
Enterprise TV, your one-stop shop for news, programs, human angle stories, the economy, sports, and much more. We go the extra mile to bring incredible details to you. So hop on the train now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Okay, welcome back. Let's take the debate home. Nnpcl seeks private operators for Port Harcourt Refinery in Rivers State. Is this the way to go? My two debaters are C. Wabaku and Tochukwu Ezokama. Tochukwu, so for once, you want to trust that the Nnpc can be relied upon?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying that the Nnpc has repeatedly lied to us. I like that she's English, mendacious, mendacity, so I think we can go with it. And the Nnpc has been quite mendacious in dealing with us.
Yeah.
And the Nnpc is a government agency. So now that the government is talking about privatizing, it's taking the management of these refineries away from this institution that has repeatedly lied to us, disappointed us, deceived us, and putting it in the hands of private individuals.
And you don't think the Nnpc for undertaking this is ready to reinvent itself?
It's been reinventing and reinventing. I don't know what they have in stock, but on the surface of it, let's believe it's all about privatization. Yeah,
because for many, many years, we have heard that the Nnpc never opened its books.
To anybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes doesn't remit money to anybody.
But now it has gone, the assets are limited, and so they've gone public.
Oh, yes.
Gone public.
They are planning to.
Well, you see, the thing is that by the time you hear the details of the privatization, I'm sure Mr. Ezokuma will say, I'm not supportive of it anymore.
I don't have the details, so I'm still supporting it. Yes.
I'm saying yes, that's what I'm saying. By the time those details are made public, you will run from it, because I can assure you, isn't the same Nnpc. What has changed with them? They know their trade, they know their modus operandi, they know what they do. So you can almost easily tell that by the time you hear them give the details of how they want to, they may even tell that for the next 5 years, the operator shouldn't pay any money to government. You'll be amazed.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out, you will know that this is the wrong policy that they're about to undertake. Because it's as if we run a country and a government in which people don't hold anybody to account. Anybody just does anything the person likes. Have we gone to ask, how much have we borrowed and how much have we spent on what? Because the whole process leading up to this spend is also shady. They just come and say they're going to commission that the refinery was ready. Then they go to Port Harcourt, they now said that it was mechanically ready. Then they said that the workers are going home for Christmas.
But hold on, the man who said this is the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources.
He should have been arrested by now.
A son of the South.
You see, we hear this thing.
Heineken Lokpobiri.
Of course, I know Heineken, former Speaker of the Bayelsa Assembly. A lot of them have been there like that. Before he was Silver, not there, Timmy Press Silver, it was him that initiated the idea of $1.5 billion loan to repair the refinery, right? That was under Warri. We know the antecedents, but the real challenge is that minority people are people who are maligned, people who are marginalized. Even when their majoritarian bosses put them in these places, it's all for show. They don't have substantive power. Who is Minister of Petroleum today? The president himself. Am I correct, sir? Mm-hmm. So anything Lokpobiri is doing and saying, he is doing it on behalf of Mr. President. The person to ask questions is Mr. President himself. Because he's the one who has chosen to double as Petroleum Minister. That is the real bane of our problem.
Doubling as Petroleum Minister?
No. That, you see, it is difficult to now just call the president's name into this kind of discussion. It is difficult because he's the president. Mm-hmm. But by doubling as Minister of Petroleum, is he aware, is he conscious of the risk that comes with it? Warri did it. Obasanjo did it. It failed. Warri did it. It failed. Now, Mr. Tinubu has also picked it up.
But the only different gentleman in all of this equation is Goodluck Jonathan.
He didn't do it.
Had Alison Maduke as the minister, but then was there anything different? Or was anything different?
No. The Nigerian government is the Nigerian government. The Nigerian power elite is the Nigerian power elite. And the patronage and cronyism in our politics, they remain the same.
Okay.
So the individuals come and go, but the system is entrenched. It remains that way.
This is why when the Nnpc appears to have the courage to look for private operators, you want to be a bit skeptical and ask whether this is really what they say it is, or it's them regrouping by
no matter how much
by other means. We should even be bothered about how the Nnpc became Nnpc Limited, and then the shareholders are still the federal government. So what is the limiter that they became? This whole thing is just...
There are too many things to wonder about in Nigeria.
So when they say they want to look for private operators, you ask yourself, what did they say they're looking for again?
Too many things.
Are they not already a private company?
Too many things to wonder about in Nigeria. A governor makes $500 million every year, every month as security vote. And elementary schools have leaky roofs. Children have nowhere to sit in elementary school. And so, there's too many question marks across everything about Nigeria. Even our president, his life is suffused with question marks, but that's the Nigerian reality. But having said that, I think on the short run, and probably without all the necessary information, I think that it's better in this particular case to privatize the Port Harcourt Refinery. Let the private sector give it a try and see how it all works out.
The question is,
is
the Nnpc a private company now or not?
Well,
this is
by name, NNPCL.
Limited.
Are they not already, what are they now? Because as far as I know, I don't know what they are, but I know that they're no longer a state corporation. By incorporation, yes. So what are they today, and why are they not looking for private investors? What are they really looking for? I think it's to gather them together in a room, and don't let me say what is in my mind, but gather them together in a room.
And shoot them?
And ask them questions.
Okay.
What they really mean by what they say. Because if it works like a dog and clocks like a dog, there's a possibility that
it's a dog.
It's a dog itself.
Okay. Bury this for us.
Yes, like I've said time and time again, the moral decay, the rot in the society is not going away the next day. So Nigerians, we keep talking about accountability, but nobody's holding anybody accountable, and it's not going to happen in the next many, many years to come. And the decay in the society will not change soon. The attitude of the Nigerians will not change. Our power elite will not change. So you're talking about even a 100-year project may not change much in Nigeria. So how do we deal with our present reality, especially in this case of refinery being privatized, before all the changes come, and we deal with our governments, ask questions, hold them accountable, make the system transparent, and get all our answers. For now, let's privatize the refinery and at least get it functioning, making fuel available for our hard-pressed, long-suffering, long-patient, suppressed, depressed Nigerians. At least let's have fuel, move around, do our basic things. All
right, we'll end the debate here. A debate is not necessarily designed to have a winner or a loser. A debate throws up arguments, logics, which many of them are tenable, many are not. But let the debate continue in your part of town. Does the NNPCL need to privatize the refinery in Port Harcourt? That's what is germane here. Let's know what you think. You know how to get to us. I'm out of here, but let's thank Tochukwu Ezukamen for coming.
You're welcome.
And Cyril Abaku also for coming.
My pleasure, citizen.
So we are done. Bye-bye now. Until the next time.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.